everyone, and welcome to Teaching Natural. My name's Dare. I'm a 6th-year high school English teacher in SoCal or Southern California, and it is that time of year again. It is classroom setup, which is my favorite time of year because everything is clean, it's fresh, it's new, and the year is just full of possibilities for greatness. So I really, really love classroom setup. I'm always excited for it. I have the list, and you saw me write out the list, but obviously I will talk about everything that I need to get done throughout the video. Today is August 2nd. It's about 8:44 p.m. It's about 8:44 a.m. and my goal is to be done by about noon because I do have to go help my friend with his classroom and with some of the technology for him. So today is going to be the only day of classroom setup really, and this will definitely be the only classroom setup video because since I haven't moved rooms in 3 years, I know where everything goes. It's really quick, and it's basically just about taking everything out from having it put away for summer and just plugging everything in, putting it where it needs to go. So it's gonna be quick. I'm gonna be able to do almost everything today, but there are a few things that I will need to wait on, so I'll come back next week when we go to pre-service and I'll get those up. They will be included in this video, so you'll see them, and I will talk about them today, but I just wanted to give that kind of heads up of that. By the end of today, in this 3.5 hour time period, I'm going to get my classroom 99% set up. So let's get started. Okay, I walked in my room to see this smart board, which in theory, lovely, but it's already causing issues. So the way my classroom is built, you can see that behind my whiteboard is storage. So this smart board is in the way of all my storage, and it's also going to be in the way of a new policy/procedure I'm going to put in place, which I will talk about. Okay, one of the new additions I'm making to my classroom are these bins. Students often confuse them with the turn-in bins, even though the turn-in bins are labeled, which you have seen the label in my previous classroom setup, but obviously I'm going to show you in this one once everything's done. So I made this graded work label, and I'm gonna put it somewhere here under in Lakesh. I just needed to get the graded work bins out first so that I could make sure when I stapled this, I didn't staple it too low. So once I get this label power stapled up there, then the side counter will be complete. The next thing on my list is I'm going to take all of these college pennants off. I've already started on some other ones that are around my room. I am not teaching Avid this year because my principal put me on a initiative team for our freshmen, which means I am now teaching all freshman English, and I'll go more into depth about that. But since I am not teaching Avid this year, I'm going to gather up all of the Avid supplies and the copies and things like that and give them to the new teacher who's coming in who's teaching Avid. That way she already has everything she needs. But the college pennants, I'm actually going to use them as prizes. So students who might get 100% on a test or something like that, or my first week of school, they're doing the Marshmallow Tower Challenge. So the team that builds the highest tower, I'll let each of them get a college pennant. I might go get some military pennants or hats or lanyards or something like that. I don't want to spend too much money. Plug for my video, The Cost of My Classroom Setup, where we talk about all the money that I have spent on my classrooms over the year. But let's get these pennants down, and then I'm going to put them in my spare turn-in box, graded work box thing, and that will become the new prize box, I guess. So this is what the back corner of my room is looking like now that I have the pennants out. The border, there are some spots where the paint has kind of come off. I had to paint these borders because I didn't like the original way they came in. Stay tuned for that whole story on my best and worst classroom purchases. The paper is a little wrinkly. Is it going to bother me? Probably right now, but honestly, once we get into the school year, it's not going to bother me that much. And if it ends up bothering me, I can always redo it during winter or next year. But honestly, I'm just going to leave it how it is. And then I've got the library all set up and ready to go. I do need to find a lateral or horizontal clipboard because the library sheet is horizontal and it's just going to take a whole lot of time for them to pull the clipboard off the wall, put it down, and then fill it out. And they never remember to put it back on the hook, so I need to find a way to make it lateral. That way I can just save time on that. I have done the clipboard library checkout where the orientation of the paper is portrait instead of landscape, and I just cannot fit as many books on there, obviously, so it makes me use more paper. So I like the orientation being more landscape. I just need to get a clipboard that is landscape or horizontally oriented. All right, I want to show you some new paper additions to my classroom, how some of my policies and procedures are going to be changing a little bit, / some curriculum differences. So here we go. These 3 documents are kind of an update of how I'm going to do independent reading in my class. And these updates kind of came from Book Love by Penny Kittle. I will have a PD series video coming on that very soon. So the first thing is the to read next list. I had a books I might like list, and after reading Kittle's book, I just decided I liked to read next a little bit better, and then I added the Lexile / grade level. That way when we're talking about hitting their reading goals and how they're going to improve their reading score on our state testing, we can work with Lexile level and grade level books so that they are being a little bit more conscious of how they're choosing books. The next worksheet that we're going to be doing at the beginning of the year is their independent reading goal setting. And so this is just a breakdown of that. We're going to fill it out together. And then I used to do a reading log that tracked kind of every single day that they read, not by week. And to save paper, but also to align more with the reading pages per week idea, I created this reading log based off of Kittle's reading logs that she had. And then if a student reads on Saturday or Sunday because they need to catch up, I'll just tell them put the pages onto Friday, and that'll be fine. Minutes should always total 120 if they are hitting that 2-hour goal, but if not, it's okay. It's more to track their reading, and so that we can talk about their reading goals, if they're hitting their goal here, and then how they're hitting their data chat goals for state testing. If you want a video that more explicitly goes into how we're doing data chats and trying to improve state testing scores, let me know. I can totally do that for reading. The next change is my seating chart. I decided I wanted to give a little bit more freedom and a little bit more agency to my students. So whereas I was assigning them a specific desk in the table, this time I decided to let them choose the desk they sit at so long as they're at the same table. This is going to make it a little bit harder to learn their names at the beginning of the year, just because when I assign them a specific seat, I know they'll sit there. I can immediately start putting a face to the name, but it shouldn't be too much harder for me to learn their names by doing it this way. And then from my original seating chart, I actually switched where the tables were. This used to be 9, 6, and 3, but when I put it on the board and projected it, it always confused students because it was on the opposite side of where the table actually was. So I just decided to put 1, 4, and 7 on this side and 3, 6, 9 on this side. That way, when I actually project it on the board, students are really close to the table already and they don't have to kind of reorient themselves to the room. Another procedure addition to my classroom is I took my bathroom sign out and I turned it into a Chromebook sign out as well. So all of my students have Chromebooks. Our school is 1-to-1, so they always have access to a computer and their charger, obviously. But they are freshmen, so they forget to either bring their Chromebook or they forget to charge their Chromebook. So I have this little sign out where they can check out the loaner Chromebook. I have 2 loaner Chromebooks that stay in my room. And then I have 1 charger that is always in the back corner, but I also have the 2 chargers to charge Chromebooks. So if the 1 charger is being used, they can check out one of the loaner chargers. I'm also going to use this towards their citizenship grade. So if a student is constantly on this list for forgetting to charge their Chromebook or forgetting their Chromebook at all, obviously I'm going to have a conversation with them. But if it continues to be a thing and it is simply them just not being a organized human being, then it will start affecting their citizenship, because that is one way of not being prepared for class, is by not having your Chromebook charged regularly if you are continuously on this list. Obviously, if it's once or twice, that will not affect their citizenship at all. But if they are on it nearly every single day and there's nothing wrong with their Chromebook, it's fine, they just keep forgetting it or things like that, after I have a conversation with them, it will start to affect their citizenship. But citizenship doesn't yes, it does something, but it's not like it will stop them from getting into college or going to the military or something if they have a bad citizenship grade or just not outstanding. Here is the completed phone bin. Those black stickers have numbers 1 through 36. On the clipboard are my students' names with a number next to it, and so they just put their phone in the number slot. The only thing I'm going to change is I'm going to print out some little placeholders, because once phones start going in, it's really hard to see the numbers of the stickers. So I'm going to put in some little placeholders that I might have the student grab, or it'll just stay in there, but at least that way they don't have to kind of move so many phones to see the number once it's deep in there. So there's another change there. Slight hiccup as I am getting stuff done. My command strips are completely dried out. I didn't really know command strips could dry out if the paper is on them, but I bought those strips like 3 years ago, so I'm not devastated. But I need to put the emergency bag back on the wall, and I'll show you when I'm actually doing it. But since the command strips have dried out and the hook fell off, that means I'm gonna have to super glue it. So, sorry, not sorry. Okay, I just hot glued the command hook so that my emergency backpack that has all of my first aid, the rosters, all the emergency slips like that, and then pads and tampons and basically everything in case we have a fire drill or lockdown or anything like that. All that emergency stuff in that backpack. I raised it higher because previously where it was, the backpack was covering this hand sanitizer thing. So students were always looking for hand sanitizer, and I was just like, oh, it's under the backpack. And it got a little, not crazy, but it was just an unnecessary thing that I always had to say simply because the backpack was blocking it. So now I have hot glued the command hook. If it damages the wall, it damages the wall. It'll be fine. I can just buy some paint and I'll paint it over myself. And it won't be like a super damaging thing. But yeah, so got that done. If I wasn't supposed to hot glue, I'll ask for forgiveness later. Another little like tip that I found out last year is if you use the little doorbell, go to Bath and Body Works and actually get the hand sanitizer that has the little cover. You don't have to tape like your doorbell into the open ones, and it literally fits perfectly. It's so cute, so adorable. And I think I got mine for like $5 or $6. It was when they were on sale. So yeah, if you use the doorbell, go to Bath and Body Works, get the hand sanitizer covers that are completely covered, because then you won't have to worry about your doorbell holder or ringer thing falling out. And obviously it has the little clip on it already, so that makes it easy to clip to your pants or your belt loop or whatever if you don't want to have to carry your keys around the entire time. You always have to love when you open a drawer during classroom setup and you're like, June me. June me. You did not set August me up for the most success. So all of these are clean utensils. I just got to go through and organize them and make it somewhat neat and functional. Now that I have single-handedly saved every single sea turtle and never need another plastic fork in my life, it looks so nice and clean. We have my forks, knives, spoons. That whole bag is forks. And then underneath the forks are the plastic 3 sets. That way if a student needs anything, they have it. My cups, napkins, all of that ready to go. Hi again, friends. It's days later. It's August 16th, the second day of school. I completely forgot that I needed to film some of the final things that I was doing, because with pre-service and everything, it just got insanity. So I'm going to go ahead and show you one thing that I really, really wanted to show, and then I'm just going to take some footage of, or really take a picture of me putting my bell schedule up, and then that's it. We're going to close out the vlog. Okay, so here is one of the important things I wanted to show you, the new additions to my classroom. So here in the back corner of my room, that student center, I added how grades are calculated at my school. I got this idea from recess with Jess, and I just thought it was so smart to actually put up the percentages, because a lot of students don't know exactly what the percentage are for different grades, and then you put it in your syllabus, but they don't really pay attention to that very much. So I thought having this up here would be awesome, especially because high school is when grades really start to matter in that they affect a student's academic pathway. Elementary school and middle school, a student can be failing, but that doesn't necessarily hold them back. They can kind of pass and just be fine. And then suddenly we kind of hit them in the face in high school that suddenly a D is not the best thing. Like, you're barely skating by, but if you have bigger aspirations, you want to be a college athlete, or you want to go to college, period, in general, a D is not passing. It's not satisfying. And so I like that I am able to make this distinction for them. And then our honor students, we do have that higher D percentage at a 65. However, if a student's in the 60s and their finals average out to a 65, I go ahead and give them a D grade, because they have shown that they at least understand the material. However, again, that's still not applying to a UC or CSU ready. So, you know, taking summer school, if that is what they desire, is to go to a college right out of high school, then that's summer school. But like I said, I got this idea from Recess with Jess to put the grades and the grading percentage and how that works in a format that was easier for them to kind of take a quick glance at. The last thing I did was get my board ready and put up our bell schedule. So there is our new bell schedule. We now have this break so that teachers can go to the bathroom, because before we just went kind of straight through periods 1 through 4, and then there really wasn't a bathroom point there. And then for our collaboration days, we switched collaboration to be after school technically, or after 7th period, because we were just noticing, like, when we were doing it in front before, when students would start school at, like, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, it was not as helpful for students, and it was just better for staff if we came in the afternoon and students got out early. So that's kind of the only big change there with that bell schedule. And then you can see this is what I did for the first week of school, or what I'm doing, because it's only the second day of school. So there you go. So there's classroom setup for 23-24 school year. We're done. There really wasn't very much going on, just because, again, I've been in this room for, this is 3.5 years now. So there's not very much to do. My classroom is usually always set up, and then it's just like tweaks here and there. So in the meantime and in between time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.